House Leader for the third party.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a lot of titles. Official party leader is not one of them, though. So, but I appreciate it.
Unofficial.
We have so many different offices within this huge organization that we're a part of. It's we need all the different pay grades. In Bill 41, through you to the Minister, Madam Chair. In Bill 41, the bill created a fair practices commissioner, but it did not create a commission, nor did it give the commissioner the opportunity to really, I think, hold the board accountable for the decisions that they made. Why did the minister choose at that time to create the role of the commissioner, but not to give powers to the accountability on the commission or of the commissioner over the board?
Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Chair, and thank you to the member for question. What Patterson was recommending a different model, and we received a letter from our ombudsperson, a BC ombudsperson, saying that that model conflicts with their role, and they didn't recommend that model. And I think the difference here, member, is that under the model that we created, there's a Fair Practices Commission. They have powers to investigate individual unfairness, complaints about unfairness. But they also have powers to investigate systemic unfairness and make recommendations to the board in both cases. And the board is accountable to us. And whereas with the other model, as we see the ombudsperson, they are accountable to the government directly. So again, they're making recommendations, and then somebody else is going to make changes. So I think the system here, what we have is a simpler, and it is right there, and they're accountable to the board, and the responsibility of the commission is to investigate individual complaints of unfairness, and also, like I said, systemic unfairness that may exist in the system. Again, examining year-round the system itself, and then make recommendations. It could be through individual complaints, and it could be through their own investigation, and then they will make recommendation to the board, and the board then will have powers to make those changes.
Member.
I guess, thank you for the response. Well, I think one of the criticisms of what happened in Bill 41 was that it was the commissioner was simply renaming or replacing the internal fair practices officer. So I know that has been out there. So maybe this gives the minister an opportunity to explain how the two are different, and how the new commissioner role differs from that previous role that existed.
Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Yeah, so current system compared to what we brought in, there's a huge difference in transparency and accountability. Current, there's a Fair Practices Office. It's a part of the system. And they report to the higher, probably director, and then to the VP. And so they are employee of the system. And what they do with the complaints, no one knows. I mean, they may get back to the workers, say, well, we investigated, but there's not much we can do, right? But under the current system, these complaints are investigated, then the recommendations are made to the board. And they're independent now. They don't have to report to the hierarchy of the system. And then, so clearly you will know that they are independent to do their job. And they will investigate, make a recommendation to the board, and then at the end, they will make an annual report based on what they've heard, what they have investigated during the year about the system itself, and make recommendations to the board. So then the board will know. So they are reporting to the board, no one else. and in between. So I think that's why that was the complaint that we heard, that no one knew fair practice office you go to. They investigate, but not much was heard back or was done. And so this one here actually is a Fair Practices Commission. They are independent of the system, report only to the board, and make recommendations to the board. So I have high hopes that this system will bring some transparency to the whole unfairness, whether it's individual or systemic.
Member.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister. Another issue that I raised during that, and now we've got some distance, that Bill 41, we've got some distance, was around claim suppression, and in particular around enforcement of claim suppression. And just as we've now got some space between that debate and I get probably some regulatory work has been done on it, can the Minister maybe just kind of reflect on whether or not the Minister feels that the claim suppression has gone far enough and that there's adequate enforcement to ensure that workers who should be making a claim are not being discouraged from making that claim, and whether there's enough robustness in what happened with Bill 41 or if there's further work to be done here.
Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. So claim suppression part of the Bill 41. These provisions came into force on royal assent. That happened on November 24th, 2022. And then the consequential changes to the policy, they were completed on December 1st, 2022. And the implementation team, I'm advised, has developed an option paper on how to proceed with the enhanced claim suppression processes for the enterprise leadership team, which is being reviewed now in the first quarter. And then the project team will recommend more proactive, data-informed oversight model to manage the risk of claim suppression. So the work is underway, but I'm suggesting, and once this work is done, their internal work, and then we will be able to monitor whether the system that we put in place or we anticipated what the results should be, whether they're working, and then I'm sure I'll be in a better position next year to talk about this in a more detail, how the system is working when it comes into implementation.
Member.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister. Just shifting gears here, I've been hearing from business owners in my riding and in the region more around really challenging situation that they're having attracting and retaining employees. And I'm just shift gears here a little bit from Bill 41 to the situation that I'm hearing from with respect to a variety of different initiatives that have been undertaken by this government, but just in general, I think it might be a good opportunity to just talk, I think, a little bit, or to highlight how it is that the Ministry of Labor interacts with the Ministry of Jobs and the other policy areas to ensure that the policy that we're developing is not creating kind of enhanced challenges to the ones that already exist. Unfortunately, we had to reschedule a meeting with a business owner that was experiencing significant challenges with employees, employment, challenges navigating paid sick days. How is the Ministry of Labor paying attention to the challenges that business owners are having, and particularly community centers, and keeping their businesses viable through a very challenging time right now?
Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Member, the Ministry of Jobs, Innovation, they have a number of programs along with Minister of Advanced Education. Future Ready plan is one of them. Our ministry work in a way that we are creating an environment where BC becomes the choice for workers to work by having a strong minimum standards where workers will know that their health and safety is taken seriously, where they know that they have they are not forced to work when they are sick or stay home, lose wages. And so I think those are the things that we're working on our side. Have minimum wage that is supporting them in a way to at least live decent life and lift people out of poverty. I think we are simply creating a stronger more favorable minimum standards, and as a result you see it more people are moving to BC last year and year before than ever in previous 60 years. So they see hope in British Columbia. They see that there are a strong support system when they go to work. And of course, employers have challenges. And that's one thing that I always hear when I meet with employers, the shortage of workers. They can't attract workers or retain workers. And it was so actually ironic that I come from the forest industry. I'm talking about now higher paying jobs, unionized jobs. There was time that you actually have to go to somebody who would recommend you to get hired in a sawmill. It just took quite an effort. But now employers are paying incentives to bring employees in, even at that level. So I think, what does that tell you? We have economy that is envy of all jurisdictions. We're, going all cylinders here in BC. We have more jobs than we have people. It has its own challenges, but it's a good challenge to have. And we have more people working now than pre-COVID. And I think because during the COVID, thanks to the Minister of Health and thanks to our other different ministers who were working during the COVID time, and thanks to our health professionals, with their recommendations, economy continued to operate more so than many other jurisdictions. And we were in a stronger position to come out of COVID. And I think those are some of the stronger points why we have a robust economy here. More people are coming to BC because they see the future here, but still there are challenges. I fully acknowledge of the employers, especially smaller employers, they can't find workers. So some of them can't even operate at a full capacity because they can't find workers. But the government support has always been there, as you know, and there's a big list of what the government was able to provide to the businesses. So I think more work needs to be done, of course. And because we want to make sure that employer, whether it's small or large, they can operate at full capacity, that they have the ability to. And workers have a good paying jobs and the family supporting jobs. And that will be that's the kind of economy we want to create, make sure all British Columbia can benefit from it.
Member,
Is there time for one more question?
you get to ask this question.
Okay, all right. I'll make sure I pass along to the Minister of Health the compliment that was passed to him in this debate. This is great.
I never missed them.
I'll pass along the compliment. It was. I don't. This might be for a conversation to take offline, but and we can have it, Minister. But I did want to, because there was an extensive debate that happened in one of the other houses that I've been involved in around pay transparency and pay equity. And as the Minister of Labour, I know this is a bill that has been brought in by another minister, and the debate is happening. But I would like to hear from the perspective of the Minister of Labour the distinction and perhaps the position that the minister might take with respect to whether or not this is achieving what is, I think, to the extent that should be achieved with respect to ensuring that everybody in this province doing the same work can expect to get equal pay for it. Does this bill that's being debated in another part of this chamber, does the idea of pay transparency go far enough? Or is pay equity something that we should be looking to achieve as part of, I think, what the minister was just talking about, which is saying to people, this is a place that you might want to come and work here because you can be assured that you are going to receive equal pay for equal work that's happening.
Minister, but just a reminder that you cannot speak to the bill.
Quickly, not speaking to the bill, but again, we are creating a working environment in British Columbia that is attractive to workers. And what member talked about is a step towards pay equity. And we can have a debate how we get there. I think that's the debate that is going on right now. But certainly, there is a lot to be said about what the member is saying. I think the debate is going on right now.